Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for an informative and exciting global cruise line webinar with Windstar Cruises. My name is Johanna de Guzman, and I am Manager of Industry Relations for North American Travel Trade Membership here at CLIA. I'm going to quickly go through some housekeeping before introducing our presenter. The webinar will run for about 40 to 45 minutes with questions at the end. Please feel free to type your questions into the questions module of the webinar, and we will get to them at the conclusion of the presentation. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted on CLIA's YouTube channel, CLIA Global. It is my pleasure to introduce our presenter, Diana Ram. Diana, Vice President of Sales, is a travel industry executive with more than 25 years of experience in the travel industry. Diana is responsible for Windstar Cruises' overall global sales efforts, developing sales strategies and leading the teams who support the travel advisor communities worldwide with a focus in North America, Europe, the United Kingdom, Australia, the Middle East, and Latin America. Diana grew up in travel and tourism and built her entire career working in the hospitality industry. She enjoys meeting new travel advisors and sharing the Windstar story. Having spent most of her time on the corporate and operational side of the travel industry, it has been a fun transition for Diana to focus on the leisure side of the business. And with that, take it away, Diana.
Very good. Thank you for that introduction. It actually makes me sound much more important than I actually am. So I want to thank you all for taking the time to, out of your, I'm sure, very busy schedules, to learn a little bit more about Windstar. I start with this page here, or the first slide, not to show myself, but I wanted to let you all know that our new Voyage Collection guides are now available. And if you want to order these for yourself or for your clients, I'll show you later where you can do that. But we do have brand new ones. They're hot off the press this week. In fact, I haven't even seen it yet, but very, very exciting. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble moving it forward here. Okay, so a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our brand, the experience on board our ships, where we go, and the destinations. We are all over the world, but I'm going to share with you some of the new destinations, some of the new places that in some cases you might not have even sold before. We're going to talk about advisor programs and advisor support, and then of course leave plenty of time for questions and answers. I do not have any video available on this webinar because I've sat through so many webinars recently where the video is all jumping, but I will show you a place where you can actually go and watch videos on your own so that you really can get that experience of Windstar. So I'm not sure what I'm doing here, but for some reason I am not moving forward. Okay, so a little bit about us. So with Windstar, it's, we're really taking travelers in a different direction. For us, it's not the norm. It's not what most cruise lines do. And I am really sorry, but I'm getting stuck. But our cruise line takes you beyond just sailing in the seas and visiting ports. It's beyond sightseeing. It's really getting to know the locals. We really try to give your guests captivating destinations, invigorating areas, authentic experience, distinctive voyages, and that really up close personal experience that you can only get when you're on a small ship. So we're not just another cruise line. We really are another travel experience altogether. The next one is really one of my favorite sayings that we say. We're the cruise line for travelers. And what that means is, many of you have probably been on some of the mass market cruises, which are fabulous. They take you to these beautiful ports in Mexico, the Caribbean, and other places in the world. But their intent is for you to get off the ship, get a little bit of a feeling on, on the land that you've gone to, but really to get back on board and enjoy the sailing, enjoy the shows, enjoy the food, enjoy the ambiance on the ship. With Windstar, we do that, but it's also about really getting your guests to know those destinations, to immerse yourself in a culture that you wouldn't be able to see otherwise if you weren't on a small ship. So one of the things that we focus on with our itineraries is we really focus on how long you can stay in a destination. So we're very port intensive. We tend to be in port oftentimes from 7 in the morning till 11 o'clock at night. And we do a lot of overnight stays as well. So it's just a different type of experience. Now, of course, we want you to get back on board and enjoy our luxury accommodations, but it really is for your guests and for Windstar a focus on the culture and the destinations we go. So a little bit about our ships. We have a total of 6 ships. 3 of them have sails. We call those our Wind class. And 3 of them are motor yachts, and we call that our Star class. So our flagship is the Windstar. She carries 342 guests, and you can see how beautiful she is. She tends to be in some of the warmer waters. Then we have the Wind Spirit and the Windstar. These each carry 148 guests. And then we get into our new Star class. So our Star class carry 312 guests. These are sister ships. They're all exactly the same. We have the Breeze, the Legend, and the Pride. You tend to find these in the colder waters, but I think what's important is these ships actually went through a major renovation, so they're absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. Even though they went through a renovation, we've kept them small. We're still able to do things like go under the Tower Bridge, go through the Corinth Canal, go through locks. And I was lucky enough to experience this exact moment earlier this year in August. I was in London, and one of the cool things about it is you can see all the people. If you look really close, you can see all the people that are on the bridge and everywhere around it. And what's great for your guests that are traveling this, that I get to experience, is they're all cheering the ship going through the Tower Bridge. Now, if you can imagine this in New York City, all the cars would be honking and saying, get out of the way, move, I want to go. But in London, it's, it was just, here we are, we docked in the heart of the city, we overnighted there, so the guests really got to experience it. And then at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the gates lifted and off we went through. But it's something that the guests, actually, the London residents and the London people visiting London, they don't get to see this very often. There's very few ships that are small enough to do this. And then, of course, I mentioned luxury. Our cabin size on this class of ship yacht is absolutely fabulous. They start at 277 square feet. What I'm showing you here is a standard cabin size. What you don't get to see is the bathroom with the double sinks, the big walk-in shower, and my most important feature, the walk-in closet. So very, very spacious. Also on board these yachts, we have specialty suites. There are a lot of specialty suites. The entire ship are all suites, but we also have these specialty suites. So we have 2. We have the Sea Island suite, which you can see here. This is brand new. And we also have what we refer to as the Broadmoor suite. Now, why do we have a Sea Island suite and a Broadmoor suite? And that is because the Sea Island Resort and the Broadmoor Resort are both under the Windstar umbrella, both luxury, beautiful luxury resorts here in the United States. So our owner wanted us to kind of pair the feeling together and really bring our brands together. These are 2 of my very favorite suites that we have on board any of the ships. And then we also have 2 3-bedroom suites on board. So we have, it can either be sold as a 1, 2, or 3-bedroom, but these are midship, absolutely, again, very gorgeous, very, very spacious. But really what people love about Windstar as well is our food and beverage program. We're the official cruise line of the James Beard Foundation, which means we really have a focus on food and beverage. One of the things that we do is we source our food and beverage locally. So we like to say, and we also cook to order, but we like to say that our Windstar guests do more than just soak up the local flavor. They actually get to have it for dinner. So on board our yachts, the Star class, we have 3 restaurants. We have the main dining room and forum. That's in the evening. We also have our outdoor restaurant, which is our standard restaurant, where we have breakfast and lunch served. They can eat on the deck or inside. But then our 2 specialty restaurants are Quadro 44, which is a Spanish tapas restaurant. And we also have a steakhouse experience called Candles. And the Candles is available on all of our ships. But just to show you how beautiful our dining facilities are, this is the main dining room, amphora. And we have amphora on all 6 of our ships. We have Candles on all 6 of our ships as well. But what makes Windstar special? Because we are small, we're able to go into these tiny little ports. We tend to not dock. We tend to tender as much as possible. And that's because we feature this complimentary water sports platform for all of our guests. So as you can see, we have things like little sailboards, we have paddle boards, we have canoes and kayaks. Depending on where we are in the world, we have different equipment. What is wonderful about this is, if you can imagine, just being, in the destinations that we're in, just being able to jump off the back of the ship into the Mediterranean Sea, into the Tahitian waters. I mean, it really is something special. You do that on a big ship, they tell you you're not able to come back. With Windstar, it's actually part of the program. But even though we have all these wonderful water toys, this is what most of our guests really like to do. They like to go on the water sports platform. We put these big floaty things out. We pull them back in when they're ready to come in. We have the inner tube jumping, which is absolutely a blast. It's just a nice casual way to spend a day, even if they don't want to go in port. And of course, we have our fabulous crew. But I showed this picture because when we are in port and we do our island parties, we bring all of those tours to the island. So even if your guest didn't want to do it in the middle of the ocean, let's say, well, like me, they might be afraid of sharks, we still have all those toys available when we're doing our, especially in the Caribbean and Tahiti, when we have our island parties. And then we also have special features that most cruise lines don't have, like our open bridge policy. Anytime our guests want to come in and out and say hello to the captain, say hello to the crew, learn about navigation systems, as long as we are not coming into port or leaving port, this is open for our guests. And I will tell you, this is a very popular spot, so popular that when we renovated 3 of our ships recently, we even put a little seating area so our guests could go in and sit and have coffee if they wanted to. So very, very fun activity for our guests. And then one of my favorite things that a lot of people forget about and don't really even talk about when they're selling cruises is the spa. So we do have the World Spa by Windstar, but what I think is great about Windstar that is a special feature is we have this special area that has the thermal relaxing chairs like you see here, sauna, steam room, and a quiet room. This is complimentary for all of our guests during the time that the spa is open, whether they have a service or not. On a lot of cruise ships, you have to have a service to be able to use this area, but with Windstar, it's complimentary. And what the great thing about it is too is, one of the things that I like to do, I like to stop at the bar, get myself a lemon drop, come down, glass of bubbles, come down, and just spend a couple hours here because it's very relaxing, but again, complimentary for our guests. We also have shopping with the chef. So I mentioned earlier that we source our food and beverage locally. By sourcing, the chef actually goes out and purchases food locally at a lot of the local markets. And at least once on every sailing, he'll bring the guests along with them so that they can see how he buys, what they're buying, what's available locally in the market. We have one chef that actually hands out baskets and says, fill her up, dinner's on me tonight. Now, of course, it may not be dinner, but we always have a locally featured dish on board, and we also have a locally featured table usually during breakfast or lunch. And then what really makes Windstar special? So I've shared with you some of the things that we talk about with Windstar, but what makes it? We're luxury, but with a casual ambiance. We don't require tuxes, gowns, formal dress, or even jackets or ties in any of our dining room. The cuisine on board is a focus for us, and it's excellent with lots of choices. We locally source all of our items as much as possible. And not only is the crew friendly, but our guests are friendly. We really have that camaraderie on board that you can only get on a small ship. I have told this story over and over again, how you come on board and you might just be a couple or sailing with another couple at the most, but by the time you're done with the sailing, you have made friends for life. And although I tell that story because it was the story I was told when I first started with Windstar, I have seen it happen over and over and over again, even with our travel advisors. It's funny how many friends that they meet on board. And we go to small ports where the big ships can't go. Our itineraries are a mix of the marquee ports as well as some of the smaller ports that maybe you've never seen, heard about, or thought about going to. But usually it's the smaller ports that our guests want to go back and explore again. We have a very robust shore excursion program that has something for everyone. We have those with moderate, that are very moderate with no walking. We have some that are, the big hikes through the mountains. And then of course, even ones where you're taking a helicopter to a remote spot somewhere. So just something for everyone. And there are so many inclusions. Of course, we have all of our meals included, but also our sodas, our juices, our specialty coffees, all of our specialty dining. I mentioned the spa area. That's all complimentary, the water sports area. But really what makes Windstar special, it's our crew. And I know that everyone says this, we all do. I've been on many different ships and the crew is always wonderful. I've never had a bad crew experience. But the difference with the Windstar crew is we have a casual relationship with your guests. So not only do we get to know your guests get to know their crew. It's crazy to me how many of our guests actually follow our crew on Facebook and other social media areas, but how many calls we get in our call center to say, could you tell me when so-and-so will be sailing? Or sometimes they follow a captain, but in a lot of cases, it's the bartenders, it's the room stewards. They want to have the same people over and over again because they really do become family. So where do we go? We just about 2 weeks ago, we just launched our 2026 ports through, I believe it's May of 2026, but we're all over the world. So we are in Tahiti year round. We do, of course, we're in the Caribbean, the Panama Canal, Costa Rica, which is a really fabulous sailing. We're known for our Northern Europe and Mediterranean sailings. Our Greek Isle sailings are fabulous. And then we've just opened up the Middle East, which we start sailing in November of this year. I would say our most popular sailings are our Iceland sailings because we do a 7-day Reykjavik to Reykjavik, so we just are in a different port every single day. Our Greek Isle sailings, of course, are very popular. But just a little bit about where our ships are. I mentioned that you're going to find everything that says wind, those are our sailing ships. You're going to find those mostly in the warmer waters, and you'll find our Star class, which is the Breeze, the Pride, and the Legend, mostly in the northern and colder areas. So we do have the deployment. This is actually in our brochures now. And then we go through 2026. Now in 2026, we're introducing some other new destinations, which I'll talk about in just a second, but one of them being that in the Canary Islands, and you don't hear about many ships that sail in the Canary Islands. So I'm really excited about this one. I would say our very most popular sailing is Treasures. This particular itinerary, it's the Treasures of the Greek Isles. We generally have waiting lists for this sailing, even though we're moving a second ship there in 2024. So I'm happy about that because we'll have more availability. But the reason why is, you know, we go to the big three. We're going to Mykonos, Kusadasi, Santorini. But we also, while we're in Kusadasi, what makes this one special is we bring all of our guests to Ephesus after hours, where we serve a 5-course white glove dinner in the Library of Celsius with a 3-piece orchestra playing in the background. That is literally a priceless experience, and I can't explain. I've done it twice now. I cannot explain to you what a guest impact this has and how fabulous it really is. And Windstar is the only cruise line that is able to go in there and have a dinner. There are other cruise lines that go and they might have a cocktail reception, but ours is a full 5-course dinner with a 3-piece orchestra playing, and it's just fabulous. And then we're known for Tahiti. We are in Tahiti year round. We've been there now for 36 years. We celebrated our 35th last year with a big celebration. But this year, we're actually bringing a bigger ship. So we're switching out the sailing ship that we had there that carried 148 passengers, and we're bringing in the Star Breeze. And this is as of February of 2024. And why are we doing this? We're doing this because those sailings were pretty much sold out every single week, week after week. And we had an agreement with the Tahiti Tourism Board as well as the government there, and they asked us, how can you bring more people to us? They're looking really to control the number of guests that come to Tahiti. They don't want the big mega ships there because it certainly would change Tahiti, but they wanted us to bring more, but how could we do it? So we came to this agreement that we'd swap out some ships. But along with that, what we were able to do now is we're going to be able to do not only the Society Islands and the Tuamotu Islands, but we're going to be adding the Marquesas Islands. So we're able to really go further, faster. Even if we had had the Wind class ship there, it just didn't go as fast. So we're really excited about this. Along with Tahiti, though, we also have over-the-water bungalow pre and post packages, as well as during the sailing packages that are available. We have cruise, air, and hotel packages that have really made this a very robust destination for our travel advisors to sell. And then remember, we were voted most romantic cruise line in 2022. However, we've held that award for probably 5 or 6 years in a row as being the most romantic cruise line. So just a wonderful place, not only to sell to your honeymooners that might be traveling, destination weddings that might be traveling, but even more importantly, for those guests that are celebrating their 10th, 15th, 20th, 25th anniversaries. Very, very special area. And then, of course, while we're there, we also have a destination discovery experience there, where we bring all of our guests to a private moto, where we have, again, this really fun outdoor authentic dinner with fire dancers. And I love showing the fire dancers. I've been with Windstar for 9 years now, and my very first sailing was in Tahiti, and it's the same family of fire dancers that come year after year. And I've literally watched them from bringing their family and watched their family grow to the last time I was there, they actually had a 6-year-old that was doing the fire dancing program with them. So just so fun that this is such an authentic experience. And then just to show you a little bit about Tahiti, this is actually my photos that I took with my $35 underwater camera. It is beautiful there. If you haven't been to Tahiti yourself, I highly recommend giving it a try. We have wonderful travel advisor rates, but look how clear the water is. That actually happens to be my daughter and a travel advisor friend of mine who's in the background. And yes, the guide that was taking us on these snorkeling experience, it was drift snorkeling, pulled an octopus out, handed it to all the hand to hold, and then we watched it swim away in the water and change color. Just an absolutely beautiful place on earth that you can't even explain unless you've been there. And then we have the new Star Legend. We'll be sailing to the Middle East this year, which I'm really happy about. We started in November of 2023. And what is special about this? We have several different sailings that we offer, but this is a new cruise destination. So they've only opened to cruising since 2019, but we have a lot of great itineraries. We have 4 different itineraries with, I believe, 14 different sailings, some that start in Egypt, some that go even further. One that if you really want your guests to be able to experience something very unique, we have a sailing that starts in Athens, goes through the Mediterranean Sea. We go through the Suez Canal into the Red Sea, around to the Arabian Sea, and then into the Persian Gulf. I mean, if you want a guest experience and really be able to see everything, I highly suggest that one. But the one that is the most popular is we have one called the Sands, see, now I can't even think of it, but Sparkling Sands. We have one called Sparkling Sands, which is a 10-day sailing, but you really get to see this area right in here, a lot of the Persian Gulf, but it starts in Oman. You're going to see Yas, Dubai. I mean, you really get that really in-depth experience where you're going to be able to see cities and countries, as well as a lot of the UNESCO heritage sites. Another thing that makes it special is our very first inaugural sailing, which is November 2023. We will be watching the last Grand Formula One race in Abu Dhabi, and we do have a Grand Prix package that we have along with that. We also have Muscat to Dubai, which includes overnights in Doha and Abu Dhabi, so really spectacular there. We do a signature beach party in Yas, which is on a cruise beach, which we're giving, again, a very authentic experience while we're there. And we have a lot of cruise tours and signature cruise tours with our pre and post sailings. We have one that is in Dubai, which I think is going to be fabulous, but one of the reasons why I think it's so wonderful is part of that pre and post tour is an open air desert experience where we take all of our guests out by Jeep, and we can only bring 4 at a time, is my understanding, where they have this tent city set up in the middle of the desert where your guests are going to be able to experience a very authentic themed local feast and belly dancing spectacular. So somebody who really wants to get the whole experience, I suggest adding the pre and post tour. And my most exciting thing is we are going to be traveling the Canary Islands. It starts this year on the Star Pride, where we have an 8-day captivating Canary Islands, which is between Lisbon and Las Palmas, which is in April. We have 2 sailings in April. We also have the Star Collector, which is an 18-day where they're going to do the Canary Islands, Casablanca, Costa del Sol. Just a beautiful, fabulous trip there. The April 20th through 28th is our president sailing. So what's important about that one is our president will be sailing. They have other executives that will be on board, but this particular one, we always do special things for the guests and have special promotions along with that. So I highly recommend that if you have somebody looking for a very unique sailing next year, maybe they're done with the Caribbean, they want something a little bit different. I think this is a really spectacular sailing. And there are multiple flights per day with a new direct flight out of JFK. And then we're introducing with our winter deployment, 2026 deployment, we have a 55-day Grand Caribbean. So we haven't had that in the last few years, but we're introducing it again. It was a very big sale, very big commission opportunity for our travel advisors, but it's 55 days with only 8 sea days. And we do overnights in Cartagena, Jost Van Dyke, St. Bart's, Virgin Gorda. Really fabulous one. We have a lot of marketing materials around this that you can share with your guests that like to do those longer stays, but really just a fun event. And with these Grand Caribbean or any of the grand voyages that we have, there's also a lot of special perks for the guests that are on board. And then you're the first that gets to hear this, but we are introducing our new wine cruising. So we have partnered with Lux Wines, which is a Gallo brand, but it's the Gallo luxury brand. So it's Louis Martini, Orin Swift, J Vineyards, Talbot, a couple other ones as well. But what we have created is a wine experience. This happens to be the flyer where I'll show you where you'll be able to get them, but this is for you to be able to sell your groups into. So you can create your own little group, whether you want to host it or you want to just set up a group for people that it's preset. You're not having to go out and find the wineries. You're not having to go out and create the program. We've created this for you, packaged it up so that you can easily sell to your wine groups or your wine aficionados. And then we also introduced 2 years ago plant-based travel. And what plant-based travel is we have these we have a partnership with the American Health Association, but we have a travel advisor that actually helped us to develop this because she had such a great group following. And Lisa, if you're out there, thank you again for bringing this to Windstar. But we worked to develop that now on all of our sailings, we do have plant-based menus in every single venue, every single day on every single ship. And, you know, what does this mean? It just means that there's no salt, no oil, no sugar, but we've really curated these special gourmet menus. Now, so this year we said, okay, so we've done so much plant-based travel just since developing it. I mean, this is, if you're looking for a specialty market and you know anything about plant-based, you know how difficult it is to travel and be plant-based. So to have this as a specialty, I can tell you right now, you'll be very, very successful. So successful that last year we were sitting around talking about deployment and we said, okay, plant-based is doing so well for us. What if we did a plant-based only sailing? We're not going to have any meat or anything but plant-based food on this whole ship. So for me, I was like, oh my gosh, how are we going to do this? That makes me nervous because it's not like one that you can say, okay, we tried it, it didn't work. Now we're going to go ahead and, you know, put a special rate out and let's get this date sold. We have committed to having no meat, nothing but plant-based on a whole sailing in Tahiti. So February 16th of 2026, we have our first plant-based sailing. We introduced this in April of this year for February of 2025. And guess what? We're sold out 100% already. Now, of course, now our president is thinking, well, we need to do more. But I'm telling you, this is definitely a new, if you haven't, like I say, if you haven't sold plant-based, look for those plant-based travelers because they're looking for ways to travel. The other thing with Windstar is we love our freedom of choice. We are not all inclusive, but we're as inclusive as your guests want to be. So we sell you cruise only, which is, it still includes everything like the beverage packages, I'm sorry, not the beverage package, the specialty dining, the sodas, the waters, the specialty coffees, everything that I talked about earlier. But we also have an add-on all-inclusive, and you can look on our website and the pricing shows both ways. The all-inclusive fares include Wi-Fi, the beverage package, and then all of your prepaid gratuities. And you pay, it breaks down to be $89 per person per day. So any of you that have sold add-on packages, you know what a great value this really is, especially when the gratuity alone is $16 per person per day. And then you add beverage package and Wi-Fi. It's a great savings for your guests. So who are the Windstar guests? They're active explorers. These are people that have probably traveled all over the world and they're just looking for those new destinations they haven't been to. They're looking for those off the beaten path experiences. We have sailing certificates, sophisticates. These are the guests that are looking for those UNESCO heritage sites, the ones that are really looking for an experience that's over the top or something very special, because again, they've probably explored the world. They're looking for something a little bit different. And then the other one, which was a little surprising to Windstar when we did our surveys on this, it's the cruising parents. And what does that mean? It might be the first time Windstar sailors where their kids might have been going off to college, or they're ready to start traveling themselves without their children. And I'm not saying that we don't allow children, because we certainly do, but we certainly don't focus on children. We focus on the couples. But these are who our target audience is the sailing sophisticates and the cruising parents especially. And then we have a taste for excellence. But one of the things that now I'm going to get into some of the programs and specials that you as travel advisors really should be aware of. First of all, now what we do is when we are putting out new deployment, this is a new strategy that we started in April of 2023. So this is brand new. But what we do is we are offering the very best value, the very best offer that your guests will ever get within the first month of deploying. So because this is new, we're right now running it at about 6 weeks, but generally going into the future, we only want to run it for 30 days. But what this is, it's our early booking offer. We actually have it right now for our winter 2025 into 2026. And this will, number one, all of your guests, it may not be the lowest rate, but I promise you as we go on, but it will always be the best value. But we have the lowest rates right now that we are hoping to be able to offer. Your guests get $100 per guest onboard credit, but in addition to it, they get the all-in package. So right now that has a value of $89 per person per day. That will go away. The all-in package will go away on November 6th. The rate will remain the same, but that benefit goes away. So especially if you have guests that are booking out in the future, or you know that you have past Windstar guests, this is a great message to share, because I will tell you, this has been an extremely successful initiative for Windstar. The number of bookings that we have, I couldn't even begin to tell you, but it's astronomical, the records that we are setting right now with this new offer every time we come out with deployment. And then we also have our wonderful no risk group program. But what I want to highlight here, because I know I'm running out of time here, but what I would like to highlight is with our groups, we've just introduced a tour conductor credit of 1 per 7. That's 7 people, not 7 cabins on our Star Advantage dates. So I do want to point out that our group program is no risk for you as an advisor. So I have an advisor that decided one year when we did this 1 per 7, she's like, okay, fine, I'll give it a try. She sold this to her yacht club hoping to get 10 people. She ended up booking over 70 people. And just to highlight what that meant for her, what that meant was that she had with 70 people, she had $7,000 bonus commission. She had $16,300 in tour conductor credit and over $23,000 in commission, just for giving it a try and throwing it against the wall. Our team is here to help you be just as successful. I have many, many stories just like that, but I highly, highly recommend that you reach out to your regional salesperson and talk about our new 1 per 7 group program. And then of course we have advisor support with our Travel Advisor Hub. We have a Star Specialist program, which is our online training. And then we have a bonus commission for all CLIA advisors. So our Travel Advisor Hub is right here. As you can see, it's advisorhub.windstarcruises.com. In this, you'll find our Star Specialist program is there. That's where you're going to learn all about Windstar. We also have the itineraries listed there and shareable flyers. And then here's your team of salespeople. Hopefully, most of you have met your sales team, but if not, we have Gina McGinnis, who's the Director of National Accounts. We have our charter team headed by Amy Conover. We have Ward Reed, who's in the Midwest, Melissa Nessenson, who is in the Southeast, Andrea Mendelson, who handles Canada, Joe Miller, who is out in the West, and then Meg Daly, who is in the Northeast. Then we have our entire inside and international sales team that's here to assist you as well. So I want to thank you. I think I have bumped right up on my time that was available, and I want to open it up for questions.
Thank you so much, Diana, for all that information. I'm sure the attendees loved hearing all of what Windstar has to offer. We do have a few questions here. I know that you touched a little bit on the shore excursions. Do you think that you could speak a little bit more about those excursions that are available to the guests on board, and if those shore excursions are included in any of your packages?
So shore excursions are not included. They are extra. The destination discovery events are included. So when I was talking about Ephesus and I was talking about the beach parties and the Moto events, those are all included. The shore excursions, what we find with our guests, because they're all very, very different, our guests really, it's a vast choice. So it's, you know, a lot of them like to do those very adventurous excursions that are outside of walking tours and bus tours and all of that general local sightseeing, to some of the food tasting and culinary. But those are all available on the website. When you actually go to book your guests, those are all clearly stated in what we have available. But they are not included, but they, I believe, are very reasonably priced.
Great, thank you so much. I had another question here. Could you speak about any pre and post packages, specifically the overwater bungalow pre and post packages?
Yes, so that's actually a big push with Windstar that, again, I think is very different than a lot of cruise lines. We have what we call our cruise tour programs. So when you go to our brochure, and we do have it available digitally as well, but when you go to our brochure, in the front of the brochure, you're going to find cruise tours. This is our land and cruise combination package. So in a lot of cases, it's either two extra nights or 3 nights, where, for example, when we're in Rome, we have a 2-night Rome pre-tour where they go and they stay at a 5-star resort, and then they have these private tours that you go to the Vatican. I mean, there's a lot of special things, but that's part of how Windstar sells, is all these special programs. So when you go to our website, again, you're going to see them listed under cruise tour. There's generally one in almost every destination that we go. I know that we have over 36 cruise tours available. Does that answer the question, hopefully?
Yes, hopefully that does. I think that pre and post package sounds amazing. And then if Windstar is pushing it, it obviously is something that our agents should take a look in. Another question we have here, I know that you spoke about the whole plant-based ship, or the plant-based, can't find the word here.
Travel,
yes, the special. Could you speak about, have you tried any of the food offered on that cruise, and could you just speak about your experience with curating that menu, or if there are any further dietary needs that any of the clients have, how they let you guys know before they get on board?
Yes, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because I am vegetable free. So to be the head of this project was quite enlightening, because I don't like vegetables at all. But I made a point of trying not all, because I won't eat certain things, but I made a point of trying our plant-based menu items. And honestly, they are delicious. But but let's not go based on me, because as I mentioned, I'm not plant focused. However, our travelers that started traveling with us with plant-based have literally leave raving. They can't believe how fabulous the food is and how much Windstar caters to the plant-based traveler. I actually have a coworker, I showed you, Gina McGinnis, who is the director of national accounts. She actually was in Alaska this year, and they did one plant-based meal. Their entire family, she made them do one plant-based meal every single day. And she said her family was just raving about it. So, and she has children. I mean, she was actually going with a college-age daughter and a middle schooler, and they all talked about how wonderful it was. But I will tell you, we have a very high plant-based repeat rate, which is why we felt comfortable doing this plant-based sailing in Tahiti. And you can see it's sold out within 30 days. It was 100% sold out. But the food is amazing, amazing. And
No,
as far as letting us know, so we cater individually to all of the guests, but we do like to know, we just like the travel advisor to tell us in advance if there are any, if they're gluten-free, if they're plant-based, or any kind of special dietary needs that they have. but I will tell you, our chef will come out and work with your guests one-on-one for exactly what they want. We don't want to make the assumption that for them, plant-based means no salt, oil, and sugar. Maybe they want, some kind of a seasoning. So we will curate menus that every single guest will leave happy.
Oh, great. So it is completely customizable to each person on board.
It is, yes.
Great to know. Could you speak about any youth programs on board or family events or activities that can be done on board Windstar?
Yes. So we do not cater to children. However, we have a lot of families that travel. I would say personally, I would think that children 12 and older are perfect for Windstar. We have guests that travel that are younger than 12 as well, but I think 12 or older, they're very, very comfortable. I think what's special about Windstar, although we don't have any children's programs on board or anything like that, where we go, the destinations that we travel are ones that you want to, that you're going to remember from, when your family used to travel together. It really gives you that family time. It gives you that time to go and explore a destination and have longer together where you're not rushing to get back on board. We do have, of course, the swimming pool. I was just on board recently where there was a game, there were 3 young boys that were on board, and they were all in our screening room having this video game program. I don't even know what they played, but they were all in there. Literally, it felt like 24/7. Every time I walked by that room, those 3 boys were in there together. So I thought they were all brothers. When I went and I was talking to the captain later, he's like, no. Those boys just all met up together and now they're inseparable. So it's just kind of cute how that worked. But we don't really cater with any kind of children's programs, but there are things to do for our younger travelers.
Thank you for sharing that information. Diana, did you have a slide or did you want to share any information to our attendees here, how to get in contact with their BDM or with Windstar directly if they have any further questions?
Yes, I actually do. So sorry, I'm having a real hard time moving my screen around for some reason, but on our Travel Advisor Hub, which is, I had open right here. I'm hoping I didn't just disconnect myself. Right here, if you all write this down, it's our Travel Advisor Hub, but if you just Google Windstar Travel Advisor, it's advisorhub.windstarcruises.com. This site here will give you everything that you need to know, but your sales team is listed right here on it. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So their contact information, their phone numbers, their emails, what they handle, what areas, what states, they are all listed right there. So again, everything a travel advisor needs is really right here on this Advisor Hub. Very easy to go and get registered. All you need is your IATA. Just log in and you'll have instant access to all of this. This is also where we keep all of our shareable flyers and PDFs. So if you go here into marketing support, it's also where you're going to order the brochures. But the PDF library, this is all created for you, where you can create a flyer and send it out to your guests with your contact information. So we have all the different destinations broken out just like this. And cruise tours, give you more information on the cruise tours right there.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. So we do have some time here. Did you want to highlight anything further or touch on anything or highlight any packages or deals that you want the clients or the attendees to know to push with their clients?
I would say just, right now, the best deals that you're going to find out there are in the Caribbean and in the Middle East. So if you have those guests that are looking for, some kind of special pricing where they're going to get a discount, that would definitely be it. But I highly recommend going into our training, and I'll show you right here under our marketing tools, but learn about the Middle East, because many of us, including myself and my team, the Middle East is something new. Like, we've never been there. We don't know necessarily a lot of people that have been there. This is an absolutely incredible place to go and visit. And I do believe that right now, this is where, if you have those guests that are looking for something that none of their friends have done, this is a destination that I promise you they're going to come back and be bragging about. But if you just go on to our training here and take a look, you'll see all of everything that you need to know, shareable website pages. It's just all here in our toolkits. But you'll have, if you want to do social media posts or anything like that, just come right here to the hub and you'll find all of it. But I really appreciate everybody taking the time to meet with me today and to learn a little bit more about Windstar. There's so much I could talk about because we really are a very, very special cruise line.
No, it sounds like you guys are. And I do want to let you know here, Diana, that some of our attendees just want to thank you for a great webinar and that the information that you shared was super helpful and that you had a great presentation.
Very good. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, if there's nothing further, I want to thank you again for joining us for our webinar with Windstar Cruises. Diana, thank you again for spending your afternoon with us, and I hope to see you all very soon.
All right. Have a great day, everyone.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.